What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Beyond Reach podcast. Today we have Tori Bailey. She is the lead media director at Reach. So, welcome, Tori. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, how was your day?
My day was good. Fridays are pretty chill, so not much to do.
Yeah. So I kind of just want to get into it, see why, what made you want to come speak for Reach, just in general.
Yeah. So I really enjoy the opportunity to get to speak in front of people and to preach. And I think it's an honor to get to do that for others. So that's why I said yes. But it wasn't necessarily like I was seeking it out. Barry actually asked me and I said yes. But like I said, I really enjoy getting to do that kind of thing.
Okay, nice. So, I kind of just wanted to get into your message a little bit, kind of just go ahead and get right in there. So I kind of wanted to, you spoke about giving all your all to Jesus. And becoming new and not letting things that are comfortable kind of bring you down a little bit. So what prompted you to speak about this? Was there an event that happened, something that occurred? What made you want to speak about that?
Yeah, so actually this summer, me and my friend Savannah Wade had a few different phone call conversations where we just talked about people that we knew who weren't fully committed to Christ, or people who were almost Christians, and people still who are Christians but are choosing to live in secret darkness, and to not tell anyone, not even to bring that before God. And so just through conversations with her and praying about it, that's what I really felt the Lord was leading me to talk about. And I actually told people beforehand that I've never been more certain on what I was supposed to say to people about God. It was definitely through lots of prayer and just conversations we had of people we knew in our lives, and even ways that we ourselves in our past and currently struggle to do that. So yeah.
That's awesome. So kind of a follow-up question. If people were to become new again through Jesus, what next steps do you think they could take to kind of want more or to kind of just pursue that?
Yeah. So I think it's really hard initially, and it sounds like this crazy thing of I have all these habits that I'm used to doing. I'm addicted to XYZ, or I really struggle with worrying, or I struggle with being depressed all the time, or all of these things, and it's really easy to be overwhelmed by that.
Yeah.
But the answers are actually really simple. And I think one of the biggest things is thanking God every day for what you do have is important. The Bible talks about that multiple times. In everything, give thanks. That's in 1 Corinthians 5, I believe. And throughout the Bible, it just talks about praising the Lord. And so I think one of the biggest things is the first thing you should do every day is come before the Lord with thanksgiving, and then cast all your cares upon Him. I think we think that we do, and sometimes we do, say we cast our cares upon Him, but we're not actually giving everything over to Him. And I think it's really important to daily do that. It's not this matter of today I had a really hard day where I had an anxiety attack, so now I'm going to pray about my anxiety. It's even the days that are good days. You're praying for the Lord to take that away from you and to give you opportunities to trust Him.
Yeah.
So a very tangible thing to do is pray. And then another thing is to get accountability in your life. It's really easy.
I agree.
And
100%.
to say, I can do this on my own, or, I'll just do this by myself. But you need accountability, and you need people in your life who you can go to when you're struggling with whatever it is that is your darkness.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. And that is one of the things Satan will try to keep you away from the most, because he wants you to live in shame and feel ashamed, so you won't go tell someone. And he wants you to feel no one else has struggled with this, or you're too far gone, or everyone's going to judge you, you're going to lose your job, or people aren't going to like you anymore. When in reality, that's just all from Satan, and he's casting shame on you so you don't go get help, because when you bring it to the light, it's in the light. And in God's light, we see light. So you can't see light if you're looking in darkness.
So I'm a huge supporter of thinking that God puts people into your life that speaks truth to you. I'm a huge believer in that, because having people keep you accountable is a lot of what happened to me, and it made me proud of myself. They'd come and ask me hey, did you do XYZ today? And I was proud of myself to say no, I didn't, and they were proud of me as well. So having mentors in my life that were able to speak into me and keep me accountable. So I think, and I appreciated that. So I 100% agree. When you want to, want more, when your next steps with Jesus, those are steps I took personally. And, it's got to be, it's not a one-way street, or it's not a
one-time conversation.
It's something that you gotta strive to want. You can't have them just pour into you. You got to be able to open up
Yes.
and tell them like what you're struggling with, and because if you just let them see this one part of your life and not open up your whole life, you're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to help you.
Yeah, you can only get out of God and people what you give.
Right.
So,
because I had this conversation with Noah Cromer the other day. He was telling me, he's like, you can't pray anxiety away. You know, you can pray for the things that open up anxiety, and kind of just like pray for those things. But anxiety in itself, like that's rough.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes a lot to kind of like want more with Jesus because it is a relationship.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think with that, it's important to figure out what the fear is that's leading you to that sin, or that like darkness, as I've been calling it. So like, what are you scared of that's making you anxious, and what way are you not trusting God? And like, how can I ask God to help me trust Him more today?
Yeah.
Like, that's also, I think, an important thing to pray. Like, if anxiety or worry is what your struggle is, ask God, say, hey, help me trust you more today. Give me a reason to trust you today.
Right.
And like, ask God to do that for you, because when you seek, you will find.
Yeah. So Barry told me last week that he was kind of inspired to like start up Reach because of a discipleship group that you started.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to like hear about like what made you want to do the discipleship group, or what made you like, what called you to start this discipleship group that eventually led to this student ministry.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to summer of 2020. I was at this camp that I had never worked at before, and I had these incredible friends, and they were also amazing. And we would like randomly do Bible studies together, and it was co-ed, like it wasn't just girls that I was doing this with, but guys as well.
Right.
And I just really saw the Lord in their hearts, and there was just something special and sweet about our community, because not only were we sharing connection on just like, I struggle with this level, but like on a spiritual level and talking about the things of God together.
Right.
And I think that's important and formative to have deep relationships and a deep community with people. And I came back I was going in my sophomore year, fall 2020. And that whole semester, I just look as there was a lot of darkness in it, and I didn't have a good community. The people I was surrounding myself with were not necessarily people encouraging me towards Christ. And if anything, I was being like brought further away from Him as a result of my community. And so December came, so Christmas break came, and I was at home, and I was just like, God, I want that community that I had over the summer. Like, it was so sweet. God, like, help me find that. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then it hit me. I was like, well, the times when I felt the closest with them is when we were studying the Bible together. And I knew of people, Barry being one of them, who I knew would be open and willing to share with other people if asked, like where they were in their life and spiritually, and to talk about that. So that's kind of where the idea came from. And then that coming semester, I didn't like ask whoever wanted. I was like very specific and like prayed and felt the Lord leading me to certain people, and I asked those certain people if they would be a part of the small group. And each week someone else in the small group led, so it wasn't like I led it every week. It was like I led it one week, and then the next week might be Barry, and the next week
that's nice.
Might be Annie or whoever else was in there. So so that's kind of how it started. And it was really cool. God definitely used that. So
yeah, I mean, I can kind of see like the influence behind that. Kind of planted the seed for Reach a little bit, see it sprout and grow, like having everyone speak a different week, you know. So that, I think that's really cool. A lot of your message really hit home for me personally. I loved it because there's a lot of stuff that I was like that I learned over this recent summer that I needed to give to God. I didn't want to remain comfortable in my sadness and in my anxiety, and so. And especially very recently, like there's a lot of things that I haven't given God, and something that I've been struggling with recently, and Satan's been using against me. So I've just been learning to be able to give it to God and not remain comfortable, you know, because it's easy to go back to comfortable, like you said. But no, it really hit home for me personally.
Thank you. That's sweet to hear. And that's definitely all the Lord, not myself.
Right. So what made you want to use the blanket analogy? I personally thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so actually I came up with that this summer. It was either in a conversation, I have a friend Caitlin who I worked at that camp. It was either with her or Savannah Wade, who I mentioned earlier. I was talking to them, and I just kind of came up with it in my mind of the fact that like a baby blanket, because I do still actually have my baby blanket, and that was mine that I used, didn't make that up. And so because of that though, that's what I thought of is I was like, oh, this is interesting to use and correlate that baby blanket is the old man, and we keep it because out of comfort. And so that's the same way we are with sin, and that's what I talked about in my sermon though, is that we choose to hold on to it because we're comfortable with it. We've used it to help us when we're sad, to cope with things that are hard in our life. We run back to it.
Right.
And at certain points too, we go back to it simply just because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But then coming before the Lord is this like big giant blanket that he wants to wrap you in, the fruits of the Spirit and his love and kindness towards you and all the things that the Lord is. He wants to wrap you in.
Yeah.
And as I said in the thing, like if you even try to bring a little bit of that baby blanket with you, the Lord can't fully cover you. And it's so easy for us to run back to that baby blanket because in order to fully come before the Lord, we do have to rip everything off.
Right.
And I said we're naked before God, but we are in our sin. We have to come clean before him. We can't just try and cover it up.
Yeah.
And so it's scary and it's hard, but yeah, so I came up with it over the summer, and the Lord used that. So it was not of myself. As I said earlier, all this was truly the Spirit through me and not myself. So. And
that's super nice to hear because like I know a lot of like what I kind of talked about this last week a little bit. I kind of figured out like what my priorities were when it came to actually doing things for God, because like I had a disingenuous relationship with Jesus, like before I came back for this semester, like the way I wanted to like perceive myself was someone who loved Jesus, but I knew in my heart the way I was doing things was for people to just see me doing things, you know, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So like I'm really glad to say that I have a really genuine relationship with the Father, and I love it. Yeah. But it is still really hard to give your all to God sometimes.
It is,
and I'm still working on that. But I love the analogy. I thought it was really cool.
Thank you.
I think that's all. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Tori Bailey. Next week, we're going to be having Will Hughes as the guest. He'll come and speak for us about what he spoke about on Reach. So thank you so much for being here, Tori. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you.